On the line right now, her name is Leslie Sorrell. She is a political strategist. And Leslie, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So many stories of sexual dysfunction out there. Starting with Weinstein, it just kind of opened the floodgates. And now we have this story on Roy Moore in the very tightly contested Alabama senatorial special election. So what do we think here? As a strategist, political strategist, boy, this is really close. This is convenient that it took so long for this to come out, and now that it's out, it's coming just a month or so before the special election. But then he goes and he does this interview on Hannity the other night, which makes people very uncomfortable. Where are you on this, Leslie?
Well, it's an example of people not doing their homework. I mean, if a scandal comes out, you hold it to the last moment. That's the whole point. You know, you have to decide when you take someone on as a client, how many skeletons do they have? Yeah. Are you willing to accept that? And are the parties, are they doing their vetting? And we've seen time and time again they're not. They're failing in policing their own and making sure whoever wins their nominee is someone they can be proud of.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, when you say they're failing in policing their own, the problem here is that their policing isn't working. I mean, they're trying. The Republican Party tried to. Even the president tried. He didn't endorse this guy because he's on the fringe. This is Steve Bannon. Same thing's happening on the Democrat side. So how do you fix that when you've got Steve Bannon out there saying this is what this is what the establishment's trying to do? They're trying to take away our candidate.
Right. Well, there's some people in Washington saying that Trump wanted to support Roy Moore because obviously Bannon is still was an advisor and still a close friend of his. It was Trump cutting a deal that he could continue to beat up on Mitch McConnell. So in exchange, he would go with Strange. I think he's probably relieved that he didn't support Roy Moore. But, I mean, he's also someone who has admitted to sexual accusations, and I think it's the new day and age. It's, do we want to put up with that? The point is you need a nominee that if they win, you're okay with them. But we've now reached a new world on both sides where you're hearing the GOP chairs in the many counties saying, you know what, I'm going to support the person no matter what.
Right.
And that's inappropriate.
Let me ask you this, and you heard this question asked over the weekend, so it's not the first time, but first time we've got an answer from you on this. What is better? I mean, here my prediction is that he's still going to stay in. I don't know how you can actually unequivocally prove that these allegations are true. His answer the other night was not good with Hannity, but how do you prove it? Therefore, he still is on the ballot. He says he's going to plow forward. He's going to sue the New York Times. He ends up winning. My question is, how bad is that for Republicans if he wins?
I think it's bad. Right now you're having disagreements with the Alabama State GOP of if they should disqualify him. They actually can do that. They can't replace him on the ballot, but if they disqualify him, his votes won't be counted, and they could go for a write-in. They're very divided on that. I don't think it will happen. I agree Roy Moore is going to move ahead. I think he wins. There are discussions in Washington already that if he is elected, the Senate actually has the constitutional authority to prevent someone from serving. I can tell you Roy Moore will fight that, but they've done that before because, unfortunately, sex scandals in Washington aren't new.
Right.
And they did that on, I believe, Senator Packwood. And once they took those actions, he went ahead and resigned. I don't think you're going to see Roy Moore resign.
Here's a difference between Republicans and conservatives. And I'm sorry, people are going to tweet me and be all angry about this. But listen, take your medicine, suck it up because I'm telling the truth. When Anthony Weiner got caught, nobody was out there saying this is a big conservative conspiracy. They're out to get him. No, Anthony Weiner is a scumbag. And that's what liberals accepted. And I know some still stuck by him. But you didn't hear it's not true. When this story comes out, and in fairness, we did have pictures of Weiner. That didn't help. But when this story came out, we don't want to, conservatives, we don't want to believe that it's true, and we say it's not true, and we say, oh, this is just the media, this is the liberal media making this stuff up. At what point are we going to, but we're going down a scary road, aren't we? Where we don't believe anybody anymore.
I think so, because the biggest core support of Roy Moore is so-called value voters, the evangelicals. And I think we've went down a crazy road of abandoning our values at all costs. You know, I mentioned in my book when politicians begin sharing how Christian they are, ironically, that's the moment I know they've begun operating on the wrong side of things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've got to wonder where all of this goes, because in 10 years we're going to be looking back on this time. It's going to be a period that is past. I don't know what we're going to be looking at when we look back. It's really pretty much unknown here.
Yes, it is. And like you said, I mean, would everyone feel the same way if Roy Moore had a D behind his name?
Yeah, interesting.
Well, I do believe that it would be completely different. I really do. So, all right, Leslie, thanks. We appreciate your time. Leslie Sorrell
Thank you.
is a political strategist.